What's going on, guys? All right, so I thought I'd make a video about something that I was, noticing because I started to tattoo back in the '90s when I was a kid. I'm 47 years old, and I tattooed off and on for 10 years in prison. I got out in 2004. I've been out a long time. I had an apprenticeship at a shop in about 2005. I didn't really stick it around long for that. And I kind of decided I wasn't interested in working in a shop, and went on to work in automotive. And then was drinking alcoholically for many years, and I'd get fired and hired on a weekly basis. Anyway, so here we are many, many years later. Now there's the invention of tattoo pens and all sorts of other stuff, and we don't have to use coil machines if we don't want to. So anyway, the conclusion I came up with is, I like the coils. I'm not so sure about the pens and different things. But the thing I came up with is kind of like how you hold the machine and how you have control over the weight, how it sits in your hand and things like that. And this is something that's kind of plagued me since day one because, I went from, using something that looked more like this, that had no weight whatsoever and, no give and strictly like a sewing machine, and to trying to figure out how to conquer the coil machine, And back then it was even worse than it is now, I think, because we didn't have YouTube and we didn't have Facebook and we didn't have all this crap. And basically, I don't think they even sold stuff on Amazon except for books back then. And I don't remember what eBay had, but I ordered a kit for like $250 from Superior. It was a fucking plastic frame fucking tattoo machine, so of course it never fucking ran right. It was called the Raven, and you bought it. It would come with a little power supply, a little gray box, and your clip cord. It was basically like a CB radio power supply, like a 5 amp CB power supply, and your clip cord went into the foot switch, so that way it could turn the machine on and off. And anyway, but so if you have a regular 32 millimeter coil or whatever it is in inches, you'll have a flat bottom deck usually. And then if you have something ridiculous like this one here that has 24 millimeter coils, you see it's got this drop on it to accommodate for the distance that this will need to be for your needle to sit properly in the tube. And so what happens is when you hold this machine like this, I can rest it on my hand right here, but what happens for me is this is sticking out too far from where I want to hold this. I don't feel comfortable having this much, and also what happens is then this fucking thing wobbles. A lot of times I will seriously end up holding a machine like this, and I guarantee you that that's got to be bad, even though I get this heavy ass grip. So when you have the machine like this, it's even worse because the machine can't even sit. Lovely. It can't even sit. It's floating. Oh, man, a fucking train wreck. I just about knocked that off the table. So let me see if I have a grip that's handy here. Okay. So, you can't just shove the grip in there like that. There's no way to do that. You do that, and now your needle is going to be out that far. So, but like for me to be comfortable with a coil machine, I need that thing like glued to the top of my hand. And I need this to be like where I can accurately manipulate and watch the tip. And I can't do that with a coil machine. I've never been able to do that. Now, there's different tattoo pens, and certain ones are worse or better than others. But like something like this, well, I'm still just as far out from holding it there, but I can literally ride the cartridge and hold it like this, you know, I'm sitting there like this. And I'm holding it like I would a pen or a pencil. This is the way I draw. When I draw, I hold the pen like that. There's not much sticking out past my fingers. And the longer that you have here, the more it's going to be inaccurate. You know, let me see if I can find a pen. Okay, so if I'm drawing, I'm holding the pen like this. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm holding the pen like this. Okay, that's how I need to be able to tattoo. If I want to make accurate lines, I need to be able to come in here and go like this. I mean, like that's, I adjusted it a little bit, you know, I just drew on this thing, but like there's a certain fluidity of how you're going to run lines. And if you're not holding, if you're like holding it like this and you're trying to draw, you know, I mean, like, how is it going to, you know, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like, you know, you're trying to hold like a like this and draw a line, you know, I mean, like, as opposed to like go like this and make a line, you know. So I can make a line by going like this, but is it going to be very straight? Probably not. You know, I can try and follow like the pattern or something. But so my point is that I'm holding this fucking machine like this, you know, and I've got like 1.5 inches of fucking tip hanging out here, and then I've got the weight back here, and every time I move it this way, the weight pulls. So you end up, you're pulling a line and you're going like that, you know? So you would have to, if you're moving your wrist like this, then there's going to be definitely, now if you could glide over the skin, which is kind of hard to do for me, if you can glide, you push a line, I'd rather pull a line, but if you could go, so I think this is what the people mean when they're talking about using your shoulder. So if I have to move my wrist to make my line like this, I'm going to have problems. If I move it like that, I can probably get a pretty good line, but it's just that, like, I'm, you know, a lot of times I use my pinky as a depth gauge too, and I'm like, you know, so the weight and the leverage is the issue with these, and I don't know about the different pens. I've been trying a lot of different ones, so put a cartridge in here. So like this one here, it's not a liner. It's not good for that, really. It's got a short stroke, but I guarantee I can line with it if I need to. And this one here is halfway, you know, decent. Got a couple of threads on it, you know. You do get to a point where you only go so far out for certain things, but I wish I could open it up and see what's inside of it. They don't make these like very serviceable. I think this one here is all like one piece. But anyway, I can hold this thing like that. And I can sit here and I can really, really just draw with this fucker. So I'm never going to be able to replicate that with a coil machine. It's just not going to fucking happen. So this one here, I hold it like that, and it's comfortable, but really, like, I need to be, you know, kind of holding it differently like that. And this is getting to the point where I think this is a little bit, probably, maybe too big, you know, to change my techniques, you know. And then we have, like, ones like this, which I think are great, but it doesn't have a fucking clicker in it. So this one here, you know, I can rest my thumb right here, and then I can literally have barely anything sticking out. So that's a great idea. And then, you know, like this kind, where it's not really any bigger than the rest of the body, and, you know, you could just sit here and you can hold it like this. Like, that's what I need. I don't know, some of these other ones here, because all the wormhole ones are slightly smaller, they actually work pretty good for me. This one here, I can hold it like this. and I can really get in there and control it. Then you got ones like this, which at first I was like, I don't know about this thing. This has a lot of forward weight on it, and I can hold it about like that. But I mean, it is pretty ridiculous. So I haven't really gotten super comfortable with this one. I don't like to have that much hanging off, to be honest. I like to be closer to the cartridge. But I mean, even like this one is pretty smooth. We have also this one here. Now this one I bought on purpose because it actually is extremely similar to that. I'm pretty sure it uses the exact same motor and a similar 4.0 cam. And the battery and grip is interchangeable. So this is like a kind of a variant of the Flux, I guess. And then that one would be a clone of the EXO. So this one I can hold right here. It's got this spot, where I can put my finger. So it doesn't really rest well right here for some reason, but I can get in here and do that, adjust it to where, and it's not too back heavy on the battery, I guess. But if you take the battery off and you go to the RCA, it gets even better. So this is kind of why I'm actually not a humongous fan of the batteries. And, if I don't need to use the battery, I'm not going to use it. So this is, one thing why a lot of my machines I buy are, if they don't have an RCA, I don't want them. This one here is a good example. This is a nice short machine. There's ones that are going to be smaller than this even. I forget which one it is. Probably one of the CNC machines might be a little bit smaller. There's also the Discovery one. So this thing here, without a battery, is like super balanced and manipulatable. So I'm just not ever going to really acquire that with the coil machine. Like, I don't know. They always, with the size of my hand, they always sit like this, and if you have something like this, though, where this one, like most tubes, are actually too long, this actually works good for me, but it's also so light it wouldn't matter anyway. So, it's just something that I kind of like noticed. I was like, I've been fighting these coil machines for, a long, long time. And I always wondered why I didn't get like super clean lines and stuff like that. Well, it's because this damn fucking thing's hanging off of my fucking hand. So, so I'd make a video about that, and then you guys could talk about it if you want to or not. So anyway, just trying to get this channel going. And then, we can share videos and stuff like that on, tattooing, and maybe break down the gatekeeping a little bit.